Burnt Bridge. I'm your host, Bridget, and as you can see, we are not in the studio today. We are at my lovely abode, and we're doing what's called sober sleepover tonight because, full disclosure, I do have a UTI, and also there's some weird stuff going on with the studio that I don't really understand. But yeah, we're improvising, and I did want to sprinkle in some solo episodes. So I thought there's no better place to do it than the comfort of my own couch with my blankies and my pillows and everything that makes me happy, and all my Taylor Swift posters and my Taylor Swift shirt. Miss me with any criticism about that. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to answer some questions that I have gotten on my TikTok, and we're just going to chat and have a little slumber party. And that's what we're doing, okay? We have a great guest lined up for next week. So I don't know where we'll be at that point, but it'll be good. But it'll be good, trust and believe. And in sobriety, when things don't go perfectly, i.e. weird studio situation, UTI, we pivot and we make do and we make the best of it and we have a good time. And that's what we're doing. So I don't want to fucking hear about it. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Anyways, so I've asked people on TikTok what their questions are for me, and I asked them to put their sobriety dates so we can shout them out. And we're going to start with Danielle, whose sobriety date is May 15th, 2024, which is Danielle. That's my belly button birthday. So we are twins in a way. Danielle's question is how to start dating again. I'm 14 months sober and terrified of entering the dating scene. Seems very scary. It is. So for those of you who don't know this story, when I first got sober, I was in treatment and I started dating someone who worked at the treatment center, which is not good and no one should ever do that. But it was so bad. That relationship was so bad that it actually turned me off of men or anyone for 2 years. And I didn't date for 2 years, my first 2 years of sobriety. After that relationship, which was actually great for me because I had developed a real cycle of codependency where I would quit drinking and then I would get into a relationship and then that wouldn't work and I would relapse and I would start drinking and then that just kind of repeated over and over again. Anyway, so this really broke that cycle. But then 2 years in, I was like, okay, I need to start dating because I would like to eventually have someone. So I got on the apps. I think that was my first time in my life ever being on the apps, and it was terrifying. And I was like, I've never even really dated in my life, much less sober. I always just knew the people beforehand that I dated. So I was like, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do this. But what I found was just radical honesty was my path. I put on my profile, I said sober and more fun than ever. And that's a good thing because the men who actually read your profile and don't just look at the pictures, they know to not ask you to go for drinks. And the people who didn't read anything about you and they just looked at your pictures. Now it's tough because we don't have the social lubricant that we used to have in social situations. So that's hard, right? But at the same time, what I found was I was able to be more authentically myself. I was able to have better judgment about, do I think this person fits for me? Not just oh, am I impressing them? It's but does this work for me too? Do I like this person for me? And also not make terrible decisions and not go home with someone if that's not what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So there's definitely, it's the challenge of not having that social lubricant, but at the same time you're able to show up more authentically yourself and I think make better informed decisions. At least that was my experience. Yeah, and so I think it's just knowing that the right person is going to hear your story and know that it is a sign that you are an incredibly strong and resilient person and not judge you for it. I went on so many dates and a lot of them were bad, honestly, but nobody ever responded to me being sober with judgment, at least outwardly. And eventually I went on a great date with my boyfriend now, who I've been dating for over a year, and he was so supportive of my sobriety, like from the absolute jump. And like those people are out there, and those are the people you want to find anyways. So it's really scary, and I do totally understand that, but I challenge you to look at the positives of it instead of just like the scary parts, because we are really at an advantage when we can show up like fully ourselves, if that makes sense. But thank you so much for your question, Danielle. All right, now we're gonna go to Liz. Liz, sobriety date is January 10th, 2022. 2022 sobriety girls represent. She says, what helped you through the uncomfortable moments / feelings we used to drown out? Oh goodness. To be so honest with you, like, it's changed throughout the 3.5 years that I've been sober. Different things have helped at different times. I think one thing that always really helps me is this like visual. I actually think it was Lily Reinhardt that said this on some podcast, and I just like loved it. I latched onto it. But she was like, if I was like just my soul in outer space and someone came to me and they said, hey, do you want to go down to earth and have 80 years of like experiencing everything like as a human being, like would you want to do that, or do you want to just like keep like floating around here and just like not have that experience? And she was like, of course I would want to do that. And they were like, okay, well that's gonna come with, you know, a lot of like beauty and happiness and joy, but it's also gonna come with a lot of sadness and pain and anger and hurt and heartbreak and all these things. Like, do you still want to do it? And she was like obviously yes. And that mindset of, I really do want to just have a human experience, and being sober allows me to have that experience fully and like in its most pure form of like, I am experiencing what it is to be human. And in the moments when I'm uncomfortable, that is a part of being human. That's just a part of it. And in the moments when I'm happy, that's a part of it too, but I don't get to have one without the other. And if there's anything my addiction taught me, it's that I don't get to have one without the other. If I drown out the pain, I also drown out the joy. When I drowned everything out, like I was drowning everything out. And it robbed me of so many experiences. So that mindset has been really helpful for me. Other than that, like the things that are just like tangible things. My dog's drinking water. He'll probably pop over here in a second. He just ate peanut butter. But working out, unfortunately they were right. It does fucking help a lot. Endorphins are the drug that I can still utilize. And being with my friends. Like, I love being alone. Look at me. I love it. I fucking love it. But I'm like, I have to have a certain amount of time alone. If I venture into too much alone time, then we're in isolation territory, and I don't do well there. So spending a lot of time with my friends, like even if it's just a friend where you can just sit on your phones like in the same room, that connection helps me get through the most uncomfortable moments where I'm just like, hey, I need to come sit on your couch because I can't be alone with myself today. And it's not that I'm going to drink if I don't, but it's just like, I don't want to be uncomfortable, and I want to be reminded of like that everything is funny and that everything is fine. Like, and other people can help you to remember that. So thank you so much for that question, Liz. I hope that was helpful. Okay, let's see. Ito, maybe? ITO? Or perhaps it's lowercase LTO. I'm not sure. But you comment on a lot of my stuff, and I love you. I think it's Ido. I don't know. July 7th, 2025. Period. When is it worth getting a sponsor? What are the benefits of getting one instead of a therapist specialized in substance abuse? Great question. I have both. I have a therapist who specializes in substance abuse, and I have a sponsor. For me, like, I just always, like, I got a sponsor immediately, and I worked the steps immediately this time, and that was just, like, imperative. I think it's good to come at it from both angles, from a person who completely understands your sponsor and who's never going to judge you and, you know, who just gets it through and through and can help you like with the spiritual side of things. And when I say spiritual, I don't necessarily mean like God or whatever. It's just like I am unhappy and uncomfortable inside my body. And hold on. Okay, sorry, we're back. Yeah, someone who can help you with like these are the steps you need to take actively right now, and just like getting connected with a group of other alcoholics, like, and AA is a great way to do that. I think it's just like important. And you can also call your sponsor whenever. It's not like you have a set date every week that you can talk to them. Like, I think that's great to be able to call someone 24/7. But then also I think it's equally as important to have a therapist who specializes in it, because they're a professional and they can give you professional advice on it. So I think my best advice, honestly, is get a sponsor pretty much immediately, but then also get a therapist. If you are, lucky enough to have insurance and all that things and be able to afford one, that would be my best advice. But if you can't, then definitely get a sponsor, because I am a sponsor. I have a sponsor. And my relationship as each one of those roles is so important to my recovery. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, Jay Hen says, every single time I'm out, I think of the convulsions, the shaking, panic attacks, and that a single drink will never top feeling that again. Plus, I get excited to think about how I'm not going to feel awful the next day and can feel clear-headed. Literally obsessed with that take. Yeah, I mean, literally, like, I love the feeling of being out with my friends and then going home and getting home safely and not feeling terrible the next day. I like feel so great about it. It's honestly so fun, and I get to listen to my music and watch my shows. We really do have it made. Okay, Jenna Jackson says, sober date December 6th, 2024, period. What are some things that helped you into a healthy sleep routine? I've been on sleeping medication since rehab and struggling getting off of it because I'm up all night long without it. Yes. Yes, indeed. I'll be so honest with you. For like 2 years, I was not on sleeping medication. I am back on it now. I found a lot of success in total physical exhaustion because I just simply don't feel tired hardly ever. I think it's because my mind is so busy thinking and worrying at all times that I just never feel tired. So like for a while I was going to hot yoga and just working out so much that I was exhausted, and that really did help. And then I just kind of got into a rhythm, and I started shifting my mindset of like, I've always been a person who can't go to sleep, to maybe I can be like, maybe that's not the case anymore. And honestly, that really helped. I need to get back into that space because I am taking sleeping medication right now because I think I got into a relationship and I started having more things to think about, and then it was harder to go to sleep. So I'm not the best one to ask, but I will say that the physical exhaustion route does really help. And I'm trying to implement that once more. I wish I had a better answer for that though. Okay, Ellie says, how did you protect yourself against that first drink? Had 4 months and whoop, one day I couldn't handle my emotional sobriety, picked up the phone, called a sponsor, prayed, and still did it. Been there so many times. I've like the first probably 6 times I tried to get sober, I had already made the decision that I was going to relapse, and I went through all the motions of calling a sponsor, praying, doing all the things they say to do, and I still relapsed. I think it's, for me, like what made the difference is working a program and doing those same things, not because it's what I'm supposed to do, but because I deserve better. I deserve better than to relapse. Like, it's not that I shouldn't, because all these people will be disappointed in me if I do drink. It's that I don't want that for myself. As much as the disease inside my brain is saying, yes, you do, you want it so bad and you need it. In fact, I don't want that life for myself anymore. Like, I don't want that for me. And I think, like, when I stopped viewing sobriety as a punishment for my addiction and started viewing it as like a channel into something bigger and better for me, that was really helpful for me. That like mindset shift of just making the decision of like, this is the time when I'm never going to do it again, no matter what happens. Like, I have to be on that side, because when I'm working against me, that's when I'm in trouble, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. I got to be on my own side. And it's so hard when we're first getting sober because we have so much like self-loathing to be on your own side. I want to self-sabotage. I want to ruin my life because I deserve it, and all these things, like all these lies that our brain tells us. But the reality is, I don't deserve it. I have a disease that makes it really fucking hard to live a normal life. But I deserve the best chance against that disease that I can possibly give it. And so do you. So I hope that's helpful. I wish there was a clearer answer of like, this is XYZ what you need to do. But it truly, at the end of the day, it is like, you have to take control of your own sobriety in terms of like, I deserve a happy life. I don't deserve to suffer in this way anymore. And when you kind of shift your mindset, I found that that really helped me. Okay. Thank you so much for that question, Ellie. At what point does it not feel scary to go out? The fear of relapse haunts me since I've done it so many times, makes me scared to hang out with old friends. For me, I can only speak from my experience. I probably didn't start going out with like old friends until about a year in. And that wasn't really like a calculated decision. It was just when I started feeling comfortable with the idea of going out, like when I had been to restaurants and things weren't as hard at restaurants anymore, then I was like, okay, maybe I can go, to a concert or something like that. And then like once I started doing that, when I felt strong enough to, then I kept having those experiences and being like, oh, okay, like I actually liked that a lot. I actually wasn't as awkward as I thought I was going to be. I actually didn't want to drink. I actually was super grateful that I was able to drive myself home. I was actually like, when I just started having the perspective of like, that wasn't so bad, then you get stronger and stronger. But I think it's like an individual journey of when that feels right. Because I've also had moments after that where I was in a not great place with my sobriety where it felt uncomfortable again. And then I had to do some work before going out again. You know what I mean? And a lot of people say, like on my TikToks, they'll say, well, if you go to the barbershop, if you hang out at the barbershop enough, you're going to get a haircut. For me, the book says that we can go anywhere, we can do anything. We're not resisting temptation at a certain point. Once you've had a spiritual experience, like you just aren't tempted anymore. And I've definitely found that to be true for me. Because the whole goal, the whole point was for me to be able to do whatever and not be just like chained down by alcohol and resisting and white knuckling it. Like I didn't want that for myself. But I think it's just having a real finger on the pulse of like your own comfortability levels with it and not trying to rush that, because I tried to rush it so many times early on in sobriety, like, and then I would relapse. And also the people that you choose to go with. It needs to be people who you can say, who you feel very comfortable to be like, hey, I don't feel good right now, I need to go, or who you feel comfortable being honest with, I think is a good rule of thumb. I hope that was helpful. But thank you so much for your question, Paige. Ashley, I love Ashley. Ashley, January 26, 2015. Ashley says, did you have a transfer addiction, healthy or otherwise? Boy, did I. I think I've actually been having transfer addictions my entire life. I think it started with apple juice and sucking my thumb. My parents literally had to bribe me to stop both of those things. And then it became alcohol mixed with men, not in like just relationships. And codependency was a huge one for me that, like I said earlier, I had to really take a break from that in order to like kind of rectify that situation. And honestly, I'll be real with you, food and then controlling food and then restricting food and then binging food, like my relationship with food has always been fucked up, like ever since I was a teenager. And so it's very easy for me in sobriety to hyperfixate on that in either end of the spectrum. So right now what I'm doing instead of trying to control food is like I can exercise as much as I want because I've never like over exercised. I exercise probably 5 times a week, but I'm not like going so hard that it's going to be a problem, but I can't touch food. Like food is food and I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to eat it. And I'm going to eat things that are good for me and I'm not going to restrict my calories and whatever. But I've done that and it's been a problem. But yeah, I've had many transfer addictions. I even, not this time in sobriety obviously, but I think the time before this time I was doing like kratom. What are we doing, guys? Why was I doing that? I was like, well, I'm just an alcoholic. I don't have a problem with other substances. Hey, you do. But I think transfer addictions are very common, and I think we all need to be wary of the things that are... Oh, also shopping. Fuck. God. Truly. Truly terrible. Like, I realized recently that buying things really does give me, like, a little bit of a high. So I've reined that in. And I honestly am somewhat working the steps over that right now. So anyways, to answer your question, absolutely yes, many of them. I've been sober for, this is user 3.14159.263 period. I've been sober for over 4 months and still refuse to go out to eat. A sit-down restaurant is so triggering, especially ones with a good cocktail menu. Is there anything helpful for you other than a mocktail? Yeah, I totally get this. I felt that way for a long time because there's nothing like, God, when I was drinking, I fucking loved going to restaurants because I was like, everybody gets a drink at a restaurant, baby. What's better than eating and drinking simultaneously in an environment where it's acceptable to do this? I found that really hard for a really long time to go back and do those things. Personally, mocktails I strayed from for a while. Now I'll have a mocktail and it's fine. But and this is like not good advice, so I'm sorry about that. I never drank soda before. Like I just didn't think I liked it. And then I got sober and I was like, I have to have something that doesn't look like alcohol, doesn't feel like alcohol, but it's something other than water that I can drink when I go to these places. And now I've developed a Diet Coke addiction severely. I think it's just time. Honestly, other than that, like, I think it's just time. And also go a few times with, like, sober friends, like, people who are also in recovery. Go a few times, make some new memories of being at a restaurant and not drinking, but with people who it feels safe to do that. And just maybe try that out and just see how it goes. Okay, those are the questions. Slay. Amazing. And we're going to do our segments. We're just going to do our segments like we normally do. Okay, we've got Pink Cloud and Rock Bottom. Okay, Rock Bottom's going to be my UTI. It's also going to be, I don't know what's going on with the studio. Pink Cloud? What's going to be my Pink Cloud, Copper? Oh, I like reorganized my entire apartment and it felt really great. And now I just like love being here again because I kind of like redid everything and it feels great. Yay! Let's see. Close my tab. Okay, close my tab. If you guys aren't familiar with that segment, it is when we're closing the tab on something, which means we're letting go of it. We're letting go and letting God on these. What am I closing my tab on this week? Okay, I'll say something. yesterday I was out with my boyfriend and his friends, and someone, like, one of their friends came and joined, and they were like, oh my God, like, I heard you started a podcast. And then, like, people weren't looking at me, I don't think, but, like, it felt like everyone was looking at me. And I think, like, I just got, like, really insecure, and I was like, oh God, like, it hasn't I'm not the number one podcast spot. Like, it hasn't blown up like I thought it would. And it's like, is this cringe? Like, is it cringe that I'm, like, chasing my dreams and, like, trying to do something for myself? And, like, is everyone, like, laughing at me? Is everybody judging me? And I haven't really felt like that in a long time, where I was, like, worried what people thought. Copper, come here. Come over here. But I felt that last night, and I was like, should I just not do this? Should I just not do this? This is, like, really embarrassing. That, like, what if it doesn't ever take off, and what if people don't really like it, and people are only subscribing because they feel bad for me? Like, what if that's what's going on, and my boyfriend, like, embarrasses me, and, like, da-da-da. Like, I got all these ideas that were not based in reality. Everyone's been so supportive and, like, so kind about it, but I just, like, felt the cringe wave again that, like, I had when I first started my TikTok before I got a lot of followers on there. Like, I was like, oh no, I'm cringy again. I, like, climbed Cringe Mountain on TikTok, and then, like, fell to the bottom when I started this podcast. And it's like, that's not real. That's actually not real. And nothing is real, and cringe is not a thing. It's actually people who are envious of you doing something that they would feel scared to do. I'm fully convinced of that. And, like, I want a better life for myself, and I want to be able to talk about sobriety for a living, because it's the thing that's the most important to me in my life. So sorry. I'm fucking sorry. Okay? If you guys don't like that, get out of my fucking face. I'm just kidding. But I am letting go of that. That's my close my tab on thinking that I'm being cringe. We're not doing it anymore. Anyways, I hope you guys like this sleepover. Please tell me in the comments. I don't know if you liked it, I guess. And if you think that, like, I'm being cringe, I would love to know that too. Just kidding. Please don't do it. Oh, Copper joined us. Copper, look. Copper, look. This is Copper. Copper, say hi. Say hi. Oh, okay. He is very sick of me talking. He's very sick of me talking, and I know that. He's very sick of it. Oh, sorry, guys. I, like, got lost in that for a second. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and if you've watched this long, you're everything to me. Thanks for being a part of this, and subscribe if you haven't. Comment, like, try to make it look like I'm not being cringy. I know I just said I was closing the door, but please. I also have merch if you guys want it. It's in my thing. It's in my thing. What's it called? Page bio. It's really cute. Rehab's Finest is my favorite. Anyways, like, subscribe, leave a comment, please. It would mean everything to me. I'm also on Spotify. And if you're listening and watching on Spotify, then I'm also on YouTube. I love you guys. And stay sober just for today. And we love you. We love you. We love you.